everybody, you see this? Yeah, the almighty penny. As you know, every week during the Big 12 matchups and then some, this little guy and I go basically head-to-head in picks. We pick against the spread. If the coin lands on heads, it likes the favorite. If it lands on tails, goes with the underdog. A couple of weeks ago, I thought I had an insurmountable lead on the penny, a 4-game lead. Well, that 4-game deficit erased. Last week, dead even. And then last week, the coin passed me. I went 5-5. The coin went 6-4. So with 3 weeks to go, the coin has a 1-game lead over yours truly, heading down the home stretch. So, excuse me. So with 3 weeks to go, we're going to see if yours truly has enough brain power to beat Abraham Lincoln and the almighty penny. Okay, let's waste no more time. Let's get right to the picks. We're going to begin in the Big 12 with Nebraska at Texas A&M, a very difficult game to pick. Of course, the health of Taylor Martinez in Nebraska, a big question mark. If he's ready to go, Nebraska is going to win this game. He's that big of a difference maker. But the last couple of weeks, Nebraska, they've been winning, but they haven't looked good in doing it. Barely beat Iowa State 2 weeks ago, and last week a 35-point favorite against Kansas. They only win by 17. They won 20-3, despite the defense playing outstanding. For Nebraska, this will be one of the best offenses they have faced all season. Might be the best offense that they've faced all year outside of Oklahoma State. A&M on the road, it's going to be trouble for Nebraska. Nebraska's a 2.5-point favorite. The Aggies are hitting on all cylinders right now. They've won their last 4 games. Give me A&M on Saturday night, plus the 2.5 points, while the coin is going to go with A&M as well. Oklahoma State is at Kansas. The Cowboys, a 24-point favorite to beat the Jayhawks. Of course, Oklahoma State fans know what's coming up next week, Turkey Week, a showdown with Oklahoma in Bedlam. So Oklahoma State, they know they can't look ahead. I think even if they don't give their best effort, it still should be good enough to cover that 24 points against a pathetic Kansas offense. The Jayhawks, the worst team in the Big 12. Look for Oklahoma State to roll. Give me the Cowboys minus the 24. The coin is going to take Oklahoma State as well. Missouri is at Iowa State, and for the Cyclones, it's do or die. They're at 5 wins and 6 losses. This is their last regular season game. They lose, they're out of bowl contention. They win, they get that necessary 6th victory, and are bowl eligible. It's going to be tough for the Cyclones, even though they're at home. Austin Arnaud, career-ending knee injury last week against Colorado. That's devastating. Now you have Jerome Tiller, who hasn't seen a whole lot of action this year at the helm for the Cyclones. Missouri, nice win last week over the Kansas State Wildcats after struggling in the first half. Big second half for Mizzou. I think Missouri keeps the momentum going. Give me Missouri minus the 11 points. The coin is going to go with Missouri as well. The next game to talk about is going to be Texas at home against Florida Atlantic. For Texas, enough is enough. They're at 4-6. They know they got to win these last 2 games. Otherwise, they're out of bowl contention. One of the biggest surprises in recent memory is if Texas can't get to a bowl game. Texas is going to win this week. They're just simply better than Florida Atlantic. But I don't trust Texas's offense to cover a 21.5-point spread. Texas has not won a game since the 3rd Saturday of October when they beat Nebraska. They will beat Florida Atlantic. They will beat Howard Schnellenberger's squad. But give me Florida Atlantic plus the 21.5 points. That's just too many points. And the coin is going to, in this case, go with Florida Atlantic as well. The coin is not budging, okay? It's not giving me a shot at disagreeing on the particular week. And Kansas State is at Colorado. Another difficult game to forecast because Colorado's a very up-and-down team. Well, they're 1-0 without Dan Hawkins after firing their coach. They beat Iowa State last week. However, Kansas State will feature a more potent ground attack. Daniel Thomas having another terrific year for the Wildcats. K-State's already bowl eligible. Chalk up another win for K-State, even though it's in Boulder. A close game, but give me the Wildcats minus the 2.5 points. The coin is going to go with Colorado. There you go. We have a disagreement. Now let's step out of the Big 12. Not too many appealing games this week out of conference play. That's going to come next week. But this week, here's a game that's somewhat appealing. Ohio State at Iowa. But it did lose a little bit of flavor because Iowa lost at Northwestern last week. Ohio State quietly You know, they're up there in the BCS. They're in the top 10. They've only lost one game this year. That was to Wisconsin. They've won the rest. They're going to win this week at Iowa. Too many skilled players, too good up front. Iowa, kind of a disappointing team this year. They've already lost 3 games, make it 4 defeats. Give me Ohio State minus the 3. The coin is going to go with Iowa. Virginia Tech at Miami. Wow. You look at what the Hokies have done. That first week of the season, the first week, that Monday night, that Labor Day night, they lost to Boise State in a heartbreaker. 5 days later, they lost to the Dukes of James Madison. Ever since then, Va-Tech has been winning. That's right, only 2 losses on the year, that opening week of the college football season, and they've run the table ever since. They're a hot team right now. The game is in Miami, but Va-Tech historically has played very well in Miami. Ja'Cory Harris, I don't know what his status is going to be. He's been hurt lately. He is actually listed as doubtful for this game. Virginia Tech, give me the Hokies minus the 2 points. The coin is going to go with Miami. USC is at Oregon State, and how about the Trojans? Not only did they win at Arizona last week, but their defense played pretty well, holding the Wildcats in check. Oregon State's been a banged-up team this year, but there's just something about Reser Stadium that intrigues me about this game. Remember, 2 weeks from now, Oregon State could be the one team that prevents Oregon from being undefeated. I don't know if that will happen, but this week I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Oregon State, who plays traditionally pretty well at home against Southern Cal, a.k.a. 2 years ago when USC was number 1 and Jacquizz Rodgers had that big game. So give me Oregon State plus the 3.5 points in this one, while the coin is going to go with Oregon State as well. And the last 2 games do not feature ranked opponents, but the venues that these games will be held in is very interesting. Notre Dame is playing Army. This game will be played at Yankee Stadium. That's right, they're configuring Yankee Stadium as a football stadium for this college football game for this weekend. Notre Dame minus 8.5 points. Hey, how about the Fighting Irish? They've been bad most of the season, but they rout the Utah Utes. So I think Notre Dame will follow up with another good performance. They'll beat an Army team. They're more talented than the Cadets. So give me Notre Dame minus 8.5, while the coin is going to go with Notre Dame. And the final game will also take place in a baseball stadium. Of course, my favorite team in baseball is the Chicago Cubs, so I have a keen interest in this game. Wrigley Field in Chicago will be the site for Illinois and Northwestern. Illinois is an 8-point favorite. And have you heard what's going to happen in this ball game? Something that you would only think would happen in backyard football. When Illinois and Northwestern have the ball, they're going to be going toward the west end zone. That's right. On offense, both teams are only going to be using one end zone, the west end zone. That's because the east end zone has a safety issue. You see, there's very little space between the back of the end zone and the right field ivy walls. Even though they've padded them up a little bit, NCAA says that's too big of a safety hazard because of the close proximity between the back line and the wall. So on offense, both teams will be going toward the same end zone. They're only going to use one end zone. That right there is about as backyard football as it gets. But in spite of that, playing a game at a baseball field, and this is, by the way, the first college football game that's been played at Wrigley in 72 years. So a lot of history will be taking place today, something those players could be talking about for the rest of their lives. As far as the game itself, Northwestern has some quarterback banged-up issues. We'll see how that pans out. Illinois minus the 8. I'll take the Illini in this game. The coin is going to go with Illinois as well. So there you have it. Maybe I can beat this little guy, okay? Ugh. Anyway, I'm down by 1 game to the coin, but I can make that up, and hopefully I will. Those are my picks for the week. What were yours?